Welcome, my name is Joey.
And I'm Cody.
And this is going to be our very first podcast that we have done. Thank you for joining us this evening. So, Cody, what makes you want to do a podcast?
Well, I've always been into the multimedia industry, video, audio, all kinds of stuff like that, technology in general. So I figured this was just a way to communicate to people and see what we can talk about,
Right on. Just to give anybody a background here, Cody has been one of my friends since, probably say, about middle school, high school?
Yeah.
Now, as for me, I've gotten into the multimedia, into, different electronical things like that. And I've just thought maybe a podcast would be a good opener for myself.
Yes.
I've been a really big fan of paranormal as well, and that's what this podcast is actually about.
Yeah, so we've got Joey, the all for paranormal guy, and then you got me, the kind of skeptical half believer, if you will.
Nice. I like that. Okay, Cody. So today we're going to actually talk about something I actually heard of myself. I was looking on the internet around the time when I heard about this. It's called Diana of the Dunes.
Oh yeah, and what's all that about?
Well, from my understanding and from what I have gathered, this lady called Alice Mable. She was roughly about, I'm not sure exactly the age. I didn't actually figure that out. But she was born on March 25th, 1881. She was originally from Chicago, but she ended up coming here to Indiana.
Okay. Was there a reason that she came here to Indiana?
From my understanding, she just moved up here for really no particular reason. I wasn't able to really find that entirely at the time. But she came up here with a jelly jar, a knife, and a spoon.
A jelly jar?
Yes, a jelly jar.
I understand the jelly jar and the spoon. I guess they kind of go together. You kind of scoop out your jelly with a spoon, I suppose. What about the knife? Is there a reason it's a spoon and a knife combo, not a spoon and a fork?
I don't think there's really a reason for the knife. I know that she kind of lived like a hermit. So she was kind of living like off the land and whatnot. So maybe she was using the knife to defend herself from like wild animals or fishing or something like that.
You say like a hermit crab?
No.
Did she live in the ground?
No.
Did she crawl around sideways, perhaps?
No.
Or was she red? I
Um,
mean, are all our hermit crabs red? I feel like there's different colors of hermit crabs,
No, she lives in a shack actually. It's an interesting fact about her. She liked to swim naked.
Naked.
That
is how I like my women. Naked.
She actually ended up dying in 1925. She lived in like I said, she lived in a shack by the sand dunes by Michigan City, which is now considered Indiana Dunes for anybody here from Indiana.
Okay. And so this is in the Indiana side of Lake Michigan.
Yes.
Okay. Did she ever live with anybody? Was it by herself?
Originally, when she moved over there, she was by herself. But some guy happened to find her, and she lived with him and bore some children from him. Now, from my understanding, is the husband wasn't very nice to her.
Not very nice?
No,
not very nice husband?
Not very nice at all. He was a very abusive husband, from my understanding.
That can lead to some very interesting family situations in the long run.
Yes. So, like I said, she bore her husband with two kids. Actually, there were two daughters.
She bored?
She
bored them to death?
No.
Like she was just straight up boring.
No, I meant bore. I meant she gave him two kids.
Like gave birth?
Gave birth
to two kids. See, now that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
The common city country person that I am at heart. Okay, so she had two kids.
She had two kids.
Two daughters, as far as I know, I guess.
Yes, she had two daughters, but he had actually treated her really badly. He would often beat her severely.
Well, that sounds terrible.
That does sound terrible.
That does not sound like a very good way to live.
No, not at all.
Okay. So far, I'm not hearing too much of the paranormal-ish in this.
Oh, we're getting there.
We are getting there.
We are getting there. Okay, so she actually had ended up dying in 1925.
Well, I'd hope so.
She had died in her home, but they had found, because it was shortly after the birth of her second daughter.
Okay.
The official cause of death was said to be uremic poison.
And what exactly is uremic poisoning, Joey? Because I am at a loss at what uremic poisoning is.
I'm not quite sure, but they said that the complicated by reported blows to her back and stomach. So I'm assuming that's what caused it.
Okay, so the constant abuse from her husband is what caused her to get some sort of internal poisoning in a way, which inevitably caused her death.
Yes, that's what happened. That was actually back in and actually just to go back a little bit far, just a couple years back. It was in 1922. They were together up until 1922. They had found a badly burned and beaten body of a man by the beach, and police suspected that her husband, which his name was Wilson, had a hand in the murder.
Okay.
Yes.
So Wilson is her husband.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have Wilson, his name,
yes,
the name of the husband.
Mm-hmm.
Their shack or whatever they lived in at the time, I'm guessing they still lived in the shack, burnt down, and they found a dead body.
Yes.
Burnt dead body of some random unidentified man.
Yes.
And the police automatically suspected it was Wilson?
I don't know if they automatically suspected, but he was definitely put in for questioning. But they eventually let him go, though.
They eventually let him go?
Yeah.
Sounds like some sound investigating by those police officers.
It does. They sound like they did a damn good job.
I wonder if they ever caught the real culprit on that one.
I don't know. Like I said, she eventually died in 1925, which was complicated by the repeated blows to her back and stomach. Now, after she died, Wilson had actually disappeared. He had disappeared, and he later turned up in California prison.
What was he in the prison for?
To my understanding, he had done Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto.
Like the video game.
Yes, exactly like the video game.
I like that video game.
That was a good game.
Very fun game.
Yes, it was.
So back to the girl that the story is around.
Okay.
So she died of this complications. I'm assuming this is why she remains there. Is there like a folklore kind of thing, like why they talk about her in this situation?
Yes. The legend goes that sometimes you will see Alice in the beach in the wilderness, and she is naked and swimming. Swimming.
So there's this naked ghost just swimming.
Yes.
At random times.
I could not find like an actual what do I want to say, like an actual statement, not statement, but dialogue.
Like a firsthand.
Yeah, it's firsthand. I couldn't
from
actually,
somebody witnessing this.
Yes, I couldn't actually find an actual one of that, but that's what they say. That you'll see her just naked swimming, disappearing into the water.
I feel like there's just a lot of skinny dipping women in Lake Michigan here lately. I mean, this could be a multitude of things. I mean, well, not a multitude of things. It could be a multitude of women swimming naked in Lake Michigan, which, I mean, you're young,
Mm-hmm.
You got to do what you got to do. Have fun. Why not, right?
Right. I mean, I understand that. And as for me, I honestly believe, potentially, if she is there, why wouldn't she be naked? I mean, that's how she spent most of her life, it seems like.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you live, you die, you live and you die. It's not what I'm getting at here. But I would assume that after you die, you would live in death how you lived in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you wouldn't change too much.
No,
You do
no.
the kind of same things you would when you're alive. I mean, I don't know anything about afterlife or all that stuff, you know?
Right.
And nobody really knows for sure until you die. And then you can't come back and tell somebody. There are situations where people have legally died,
Right.
been brought back to life and said they've seen things, you know, blah, blah, blah. But in my head, that could, honestly, to me, could just be a dream.
Yeah.
I mean, you go to sleep, you dream, you die technically. It could be like a dream. I mean, you never know. You know, you never know what to believe in these situations.
Well, I think you're very correct on that. You really are. I'm 100% on board with that, but I gotta say though, it's very convincing.
I mean, if you've got like a ton of people that are all witnessing this, then maybe it's a thing. But I mean, we don't have any, you know, firsthand people that are like, oh yeah, I saw that, you know, like
Yeah, we don't
they've
have.
been out there looking and seeing it, I guess.
Yeah, I never found those for first hand accounts. It'd be great if I did. It'd been a lot better. But you know, if she's out there, well, she's out there. You know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Nick, you know, I've never been to Lake Michigan. I've been past Lake Michigan, going to Canada before, 2 times I believe. But next time I go, you know, stop by there and see if I can't see some, you know, naked swimming ladies. You know?
Naked swimming ladies. Yeah, definitely. Honestly, I wouldn't mind taking a trip up to Indiana Dunes.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been there before. Seems like an interesting place to go, you know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of different things going on up there.
Definitely, that would be a fun time to go up there. We should all go up there sometime. Now she also, just to give you guys another thing about her, she's also been compared to Diana. And in case a lot of you people don't know, Diana is the Greek goddess for the hunt, the moon, and the nature.
Sounds like she's got a plate full on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, I tried to do some research up and seeing why she is compared to Diana. Majority of what I could find would really be that either the beauty of her, which I mean, I have seen some pictures, and if we can figure out how to post some pictures up, we will, but I'm not quite sure about that yet. She's also spent Diana, the Greek goddess, has also spent a lot of time outside, which is also what Diana of the Dunes does.
Yes, I can kind of see the connection with this specific goddess, I guess, because of the similarities in the outside nature. You know, they're both lived outside. They both connected with nature. They like animals. You know, they're kind of all kinds of that stuff in a way.
Right.
But yeah, that would be the one that I would compare her to, I guess, if I was to compare her to a Greek goddess of anything.
Well, I can't really compare. I can't really compare Alice to Diana entirely, because Diana from the Greek mythology swore never to marry. Alice, on the other hand, I believe she was married to her husband.
Did they get married?
I think she did.
How can you live in a shack and get married though?
Well, how can you have 2 kids and not get married?
I have friends that have multiple kids and are not even close to being married yet.
Well, I mean, you know, that happens.
I.e., my roommate is not on that track.
Well, I mean, back in the day, though, back in that time, it wasn't really, I would assume it wasn't really common not to be married and have 2 kids.
Yeah, but, I mean, if you're living on a beach in a shack, I mean, what kind of morals do you have, you know? I mean, that's kind of like drifter territory.
Right.
Like, I feel like she's kind of like would drift here and there. And, I mean, that's just how some people are. I mean, that's just the way it is, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she. But I mean, I don't know. The thing is,
You just don't know.
I just
that's just the
don't know.
thing,
I just
You
don't.
never know with these things.
Yeah, you really don't. I mean, you can do all your research you want, but at the end of the day, do you really know?
You don't, because there's so many different articles out there. There could be 1,500 articles on the same thing, different accounts of different things, and nobody really knows for sure because one person can say one thing and another person can say the exact opposite. I mean, in today's day and age, with all the technology out there, anything can be faked.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Anything can be conjured up to look like whatever especially with images and videos, they can all be doctored in certain ways. Around Halloween time, a lot of spooky things go on, which actually Halloween is next week.
I know. I'm so excited for Halloween.
Yes, that is one of my favorite holidays of the year. Most people don't really like it because it's kind of like demonic, especially like religious people, would say that. But I like it because it's just fun to kind of design like things and go out and be someone you're not for a night. Just kind of have fun. Do your thing.
It's like the haunted houses we used to do.
Yeah, the haunted houses were great. I mean, I like going to haunted houses, but anymore, I'd rather be a part of one instead of going through one. Because when I go through one, it's more just looking at things and getting ideas for things that I would do for myself. They're not really scary to me anymore. I might get jump scared every now and then because I'm not expecting someone to be behind me or something like that. But that happens in real life.
Oh yeah.
When people aren't scary.
Exactly. Yeah.
And this podcast will be released on the 31st, which is Halloween, of course, as the premiere episode of this podcast series that we will be doing. What would you say how often would we be posting these? Once every 2 weeks or so?
I mean, I would like to do
a bi-weekly basis.
A bi-weekly basis. I mean, if we can't do bi-weekly, we can always try and shoot every 3 weeks.
Tri-weekly?
Tri-weekly.
Like a tricycle.
Yeah.
The trusty old tricycle.
Yes.
They used to have as a kid. So that is really all we have on this specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
We chose sort of a small, easy to do legend in a way for our original podcast. That way we could kind of explain who we are a little bit, talk about things, why we're here, what we're doing, why we like what we're doing.
Yes, like I said, like Cody said, it was a very small episode, honestly. It really is. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find a whole lot about Diana of the Dunes, I can find a whole lot about Diana, the mythological. I can find a great goddess all day long.
Yeah, but there's a really, authentic looking Wikipedia page for days.
I know.
It's got tons of links and tons of words in other languages that I don't know. And, I mean, you could just go on for days on that.
Yeah.
But this is a paranormal podcast. We wanted to do something like this because this is what we have been wanting. We talk about this stuff on a daily basis, and we figured why not record this kind of stuff and let other people listen to it for fun, People might want to know what we're here, what we have to say.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's always nice to listen to somebody else talking about this stuff instead of talking to maybe some stranger down the road and he might think you're crazy or something. So, you can kind of relate to us. We can relate to you, maybe. I mean, it's up to you. I don't know exactly what all these people do, but
yeah, I mean, you could just stumble across this podcast and just think, wow, these guys are idiots.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can think that this is a country of freedom of speech, freedom of thought, all that kinds of junk. You're free to think whatever you think. I truly don't care what you think, whether you hate us or you love us. It could go either way for me,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not the biggest person on caring what other people think, but I mean, honestly, I wouldn't mind knowing what people think about this podcast, just to see what we could fix, I guess.
Yeah, what we could do better. I assume we can definitely do some things a lot better next time.
Definitely.
But like I said, this is our first one, first experience with doing this sort of thing. I was in a TV studio, a while back in high school, but that's different. That's like teleprompter stuff,
you guys
kind of stare at the camera. It pretty much tells you what to do. But this is us just talking. This is us going back and forth, talking about what we like to talk about, having a good old time, chilling here. It's a relatively in-serious, it has serious parts.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But for the most part, it's a pretty laid back, just kind of chilling, having some fun, having some talks,
Yeah, I thought I had fun today. I had fun with this podcast today. Did you have fun with this podcast?
I have fun every day, no matter what I'm doing. It's just a grand old time, no matter where I'm at or what I'm doing.
It's nice. I like that. I wish my job was like that. I wish I had a fun time at work like that.
I don't have a fun time at work. That's not what I said. Work is not fun in the slightest.
I wish my work was fun. I really do.
Yeah.
I really wish my work was fun.
Yeah, I wish all work was fun. But if work was fun, it wouldn't be called work. It'd just be...
Yeah, that's true.
Another day,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Another day in the life.
But, you gotta make that money, though.
Yeah, you gotta make the money to keep doing what you like,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't be able to do this podcast here if
wasn't for
we didn't have the money,
Exactly.
Money to buy the equipment, the standard equipment that we have at the moment.
Yeah, the standard equipment that we have.
But if this thing kind of takes off and we actually get some kind of following, which would be nice. I don't expect it because I don't have many friends,
Right.
So who would want to be my virtual friend?
Yeah.
But if something like that happens, then invest a little bit more money into it. Get some higher quality equipment, some actual audio mics that are good and not through a camera.
Hey now, I think this camera's doing pretty well though.
Yeah, our audio levels seem pretty good right now, for the most part.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a few high spikes, but we can
equalize those out.
Yeah. Well, guys, we did it. We made it to the first episode.
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part.
It was even though it was a short. This probably be our shortest episode. Kind of just an entry into who we are. What we do. Short little mythology kind of folklore legend-ish thing. Next time we will definitely have a larger, more serious backstory to what we're talking about. It'll take up a larger majority of the podcast, and we won't talk as much about ourselves.
Yeah,
hopefully.
But just to give you guys a little sneak peek, I'm hoping we can go across to Japan.
Are we traveling to Japan next week?
No, it's China.
Oh, we're going to China.
Yes, we're going to China.
I don't have my passport.
We're getting one by next week.
Oh my.
Yes, that's what. Hopefully, I can take us over there, and because there's definitely a story over there that I want to take a look at, and hopefully be able to put this on this podcast.
Is there a little information on what that story's about? Kind of just name
the
person-ish.
I can't give you the person. Because I can't really pronounce it that well.
Is it a Chinese name?
Yes, it's actually, I don't know if you ever watched The Ring?
The Ring, yes. I have seen that terrible movie.
Yeah, it is a terrible movie. But there's a legend behind that movie. And it's a true legend.
It's true?
It's a true legend.
How true is it?
I would say about 75%.
Well, that percentage will be called into question by me next week.
Okay.
Next podcast, anyway.
That is definitely fine. But yeah, that's a sneak peek there that you guys can get. Hope you guys have a great night, and thank you for following us into the darkness.
See you next time.